Blog Talk Radio.
Hello? Hello? Hey, love. I apologize for kind of signing on late this evening. Sometimes I just wish the thing was kind of right there, but it was not. I had to actually call in. I'm over here fussing, and I'm trying to get this little stuff together. As I stated before, I do try to write down my notes. Unfortunately, I did wait to the last minute today, so this is the reason why I didn't really get on or was not online right away. And so the song that came to mind, blessings, tardy for the party, tardy for the party. Candy wrote that for Kim on Atlanta Housewives. So it's tardy for the party, tardy for the party. Anyway, how you guys doing? Boon, B-O-O-N. And as it is today is Thursday, June 5th, 2014. Salubrious. I'm going to repeat it, excuse me. Salubrious. What's up, though? Thanks for listening to Street Meet The Point. Thanks for listening to Street Meet The Point. My name is Irene Ratliff, Regal Street Meet Company. Wow, whether it's high or low or up and down or side to side, it doesn't matter. Regal Street Meet Company. Street Meet Company is a nonprofit organization seeking partners and sponsorship such as the listening audience to help ameliorate goals that can improve our community. Well, my community where I'm residing today, and because I feel like I'm investing some time here, I ain't gonna fib to you, honey. You know I have to find me a house over here. And so I really did. Matter of fact, let me look at this really quick. Excuse me. I do want to keep in mind, let me write their name down too to make sure it's correct. I was actually looking at the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations. I said Blacks for Reparations in America. Now, I will go over and I guess communicate that team again because I want somebody out there, hoping somebody out there here, Irene Ratliff, speaking on Street Meet The Point to imply, please go in the archives. I got archival stuff. And right now I ain't gonna flip to you. I need people to assist me in so many different of these committees that these committees in and itself can actually create their own little board, or committee of the committee. We have 3WD, Naguzo Saba, Tulip, Blog Talk, Kite Society. Street Meet Company is seeking to partner up with people. Now, of course, I'm just on the radio. I have to go out there and mingle. I know everybody's busy. I did talk to a couple of people from the ULU. I'll go into that conversation, too. I got them real big right here. The ULU. Yesterday, I ain't going to fib to you. I was a little tired. I was like, oh, goodness, I'm caught myself walking, and I end up creating this little trail, and I end up finding myself a little exhausted. So I have to appropriate, here it is, that balance in terms of exercise and then work and doing everything else. So, hey, today I cleaned up the clutter. So I guess when I'm talking, I don't see this pile of clutter that my child had created. I'm like, wow, I had to tell her, when I was in the group home, honey, it was like, here it is. It meant something if you didn't clean up your room. So tell her like a TI is. I'm only telling you the truth. Okay. Oh, excuse me. What was this? Gosh, ain't that something? It just went somewhere else, just like that. Anyway, moving right along. Well, sometimes it be like that. Uh, my name is Irene Ratliff again, Treat Me Company. Listeners, you can call 646-564-9776. Listeners, you can call 646-564-9776. Anyway, I was out and about and I was walking in this community and I'm like, let me check on this house. I'm not even sure what street that was, but I thought that was a really interesting piece. Uh-huh. Let me check it out. Well, listen, like other people that looked at it too. It's kind of sitting over there in a cut somewhere. Well, I tell you, it's something else when here it is when you look at our bean. And here it is, you have somebody going around and around with a certain kind of way. It's like, hold up. Or something. Now, you can call it spiritual. I'm going to call it twilight. Let's tell it like a TIS, honey. I ain't going to go back and forth with you guys with that. Okay, anyway. We are on the air up to 120 minutes daily at 11:30 p.m. By the grace of goodness, we are training on Blog Talk Premium package. We would like to maintain the package, and we need donations from you, the listening audience, and those in incognito too. Somebody's listening. Is it the DOD? Is it the NSA? The NASA? The GOB? Send me my money. Anyway. Call us. Please visit our website at www.streetmeet.biz and www.meetup.com street meet. Street Meet Mingle will be Sunday, July 6, 2014 at 2 p.m. at the Southwest Library. Hoping to see you. They actually have a park, and if you have drums and dance, we can create some cheer. There are so many things to do, and we value your support, and we encourage our listeners to get involved with local associations, including your neighborhood club / associations, know your politicians, join your libraries, read and research more often, locate the local law library, and build street-level laws pertaining to the citizens in your area. So what do you mean by that? Know your policemen. They do have police balls, and there's civilians that participate with that. Matter of fact, you can pull up police and you get to mingle. I mean, it's just the truth. And of course, I ain't gonna fib to you. The street people like to have that position, especially when it comes to kite society. You know why? Because here it is, we should have it like that. Okay? Understanding the relationships that we share. And it's just the truth. Join the park and recreation departments. There are so many things to do and to be involved and to be in the know. And it's just the truth. Now, I'm going to go and have conversation about that too in terms of, I guess, police ball. Did I say police ball? Okay. Not police brutality. And then civilians. And of course, my position is as a civilian. But that doesn't mean that here it is, I don't have awares or cares about certain things that are going on. I also want to communicate about education, so please, I will be on that in terms of the layout. I'm going to see if I'm able to actually post things on the Blog Talk Radio. If I'm able to post some things, then I get some of those information that I'm communicating, you'll be able to find it. I'm also speak about Keisha Bottoms. So if you find me, or excuse me, if you hear me typing, listen. I'm typing because, as I said before, I have not really provided, I guess, materials, written materials, and that's why I was kind of late on signing on today. But I wanted to say I was out walking about today, and there was this interesting looking piece of property I found. Find. Make sure I correct that. That I find. And I tell you the God honest truth, if I was able to actually have that property, that would be good. You know, I had someone talking to me about some property, and they're like, oh, well, we want some property too. I'm like, I know that's right. Me too. Me, you, and me, you, and you, and somebody else too. So that brings me to this group called N-Cobra. Okay? N-Cobra. Now, I was actually, let me go back over here to them. Because I was actually looking at some of their information, and I was talking to a gentleman who is with the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. So N-Cobra, don't get upset. Okay, N-Cobra, the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. Please, I'm on your website. Please take that man's neck off that chain and put some houses on there. Why the hell do y'all have a man chained up with his head bent down like that? And yet you talking about reparations. Now what do you mean when you had them pictures up there looking like that? I had asked you a dang on question. And this ain't dang gringo. Why in the world do you have that on there like that? I'm sorry. We have to upgrade you people. We have to understand what certain things mean here and there. And it's just the truth. Now, the relationship in terms of certain things here and there, okay, I'm looking at it and I see that, you know, it's a combination of this, that, and the other, and there's nothing wrong with that. So let me go ahead and move from this page there like that. N-Cobra. Let me find a mailing address because you know I want to write them. N-Cobra, you know you guys should have been on the housing, right? Everything that we communicate in terms of the housing market, N-Cobra should have been on that. N-Cobra not only should have been on the housing market, N-Cobra should have also been working with the homeless. Most of the people who are homeless actually lost their property due to drugs. And most of the urban areas or major cities have been utilized or upgraded into business districts. Now, don't get me misunderstood. Their effort to remind us of the change as that is displayed is understood. But what about the current situation we have today? If you want to talk about reparations in terms of repair of what was going on sometime yesterday, that we do not have people there to support the argument, then you must look at what's going on right now to acknowledge where the repair needs to be. So hold on. We need to focus on Sarah Sutton-Seti. He's a little rough for me, but I do listen to him every now and again. Don't get it twisted. And what is his name? Polite. Keep it in perspective. Sometimes they be sounding like they looking. I'm going to go on that too. Okay, don't get it twisted. So since I brought up Polite and Sarah Sutton-Seti, I'll go there. But we need to focus on the issues and agenda today. Us ignoring what that is to address yesterday, us ignoring today to address yesterday is a reflection of our past. Do you understand what I mean? I said, do you understand what I mean? When I say what I mean? You got these people literally arguing about here it is, their position as a people, and here it is how they were this, that, and the other from yesterday, and then giving all that power to hear it, but for some reason we got on the tongue. Oh, the tongue. Okay, I got you, honey. All of us should understand the power of the tongue. You should understand good and bad. And then here it is, when it begins to split, that there's a lot of good in various areas, there's a lot of bad in various areas. And what happens, I've had this discussion with somebody else a little earlier, and it was with a minister. I don't have his business card to call him out. If I do, I ain't going to look for it right now. But the question was, I had asked him this question. Do you think God and the devil is the same? I said, the question was, do you think God and the devil are the same? He's like, no, I can't, I ain't the same, I said, what? For those, I'm going to just let you know, I'm not going to argue with you about the book, which is the Bible, because there are many other books, blessings. So all these people where they have tried to associate Egyptology, I find it interesting in terms of theology, blessings, that they haven't actually gone into certain studies where they think of theology. They're only talking about the Bible, and then they only associate Egyptology. Not the Iranians or the Assyrians, not here it is the Chadians in terms, well, they do mention the Nubians, but then here it is, not here it is the Celtics and the Greeks or the Hindus or the Toyisms. So when I listen to some of these people, I ain't gonna feel to you, it seems really minor. Now, I'm going to repeat the question I asked this man who wanted to tell me about salvation, blessings. Do you know if God and the devil are the same, blessings? And he said, no, they're not the same. I said, okay, well, let me ask you this question. Is the devil good? He said, the devil ain't good. The devil ain't good. The devil ain't good. I said, you sure? Hey, I just want y'all to understand something, okay? And he said, I said, okay, is the devil bad? And he said, uh-huh. I said, so God is good? Uh-huh. I said, is God is bad? Uh-uh. So the thing is that you have to understand that is one. But when you play into something where here it is, it looks a certain way, where you're not understanding balance, that means that you want to take on certain aptitude of, okay, leveraging something that is, especially when you start talking about our peace, our liberty, our justice, our security, or this, and you playing into it as if it should be based on fear, then here it is, you giving way to somebody else who feel like they have power and influence. And then at that point, you're going back and forth a certain kind of way, how they want us to be bobblehead. I'm sorry. The thing is that if we look at certain things, it's going to be straight. There shouldn't be no particular confusion, whether you want to talk about Alan, Eric, or Fidel. Let's split out there like that, or Charles. I mean, let's call it out like a T.I. is, because here it is, he want to be Papa. Or who want to be Papa? I don't know. You name all of them. I don't know. This is for using that for an example while we sitting there looking at all these other characters. Please miss me with that. I just have to pull it out there like that because here it is. We don't need to know basis, but I ain't trying to get into it all like that. You know, I'm animated. Now, the thing is that when we look at the, from initially and from the get-go, I said the devil, as people will call the devil, and God, which is people will define that as good, is one. Okay? So if the devil is sitting in his seat and he has children, right? He gonna treat his children good. So therefore the devil will be considered God. Pay attention. Listen. Okay? So now here it is. God is good. Okay? So now here it is. We see that God is good. Then when when we discern certain things, now we see that when God want to do something that is wrong, now it starts to look like the devil. But then the wrong becomes a right. So when we look inside the book, what is clear is that God, in many names, have produced certain now. Okay, now my question would be, why would you want to define yourself as such and such? Bless you. Okay? Because when you have people who want to go back and forth with you a certain kind of way, when everything in itself is a certain kind of way, what happens is that when they start doing it, pay attention, comparisons, this is when you begin to see a particular separation. The question will be, why do you suppose we should be in separation? Now, if you are talking about reparation, you know, I just threw that in there. It just seemed fitting. But if you're talking about reparations, you wouldn't be having a conversation about yesterday. You will be working on what's current today. Not shunning your history, but apparently the rhetoric is a reflection of a retold story. Here it is, somebody else want to hold on to instead of you at a point of reparations, which is supposed to be repaired, right? Then when we look at certain things, there's no reason for some of us to be bitter. So when we look at that aspect of it, well, here it is, we're going like this, like we are this, and we're on one. Not saying that here it is, you know, for some reason, I don't understand why they wanted to paint me like I was a villain. Baby, I ain't no villain, I'm a sweetie pie. Well, how was they doing that, Irene? I know that's right. Maybe all that messaging, I don't know. Street meat. Blessing. I couldn't understand that. No, couldn't. I don't know how you want to look at it, but I did not understand that. Okay? So when we look at it, understand that here it is, devil and God is one. So you don't have to define what that is, because now at that point you're looking for divinity. And so when somebody said, well, the devil made me do it. So at that point you want to give might to the devil to say that here it is, the devil enticed you to do something bad, and yet here it is, you didn't want to lean on your own conscience to say that you're good. You understand where I'm coming from? So that just know that here it is. Yes, there's two sides to all of us. I don't know if you want to call it bipolar or autism. I don't know. But the thing is, there is two sides to us being. That means that here it is. We have the act of good, and we also have the act of bad. Blessing. It's just, I don't know what to say. Especially when you're around other people. And so when you look at energy, blessings, when you look at energy, and you look at here it is, what's being invoked, what's being enticed, or what's being going out there a certain kind of way, we have to acknowledge what that thing is. What is it? Well, hey, we have to associate what that thing is in terms of our being. This is why the conversation about balance, oh gosh, I'm going to that in a few minutes, about balance, about equilibrium, and about ourselves as a people is important. It is valuable. It does matter. And what happens, and I myself have participated in that, is blessings is a laziness. It's not a laziness, a lack. I said here it is, a lack. Look at these folks. Do you understand what that means? You know we onyx people. If you didn't know that, we're onyx people. Now, here it is. It's like, oh, that seems real close to the oxen. But guess what? You still could drink milk and they're vegetarians. So I don't know. But we're onyx people. Okay? I think it's spelled O-N-Y-X. Okay? And I was listening to this song by Future called He's Being Honest. I like that song. Even though it's a little raunchy. And of course he could have had an honest woman on his thing. But all them rappers out there, where's your honest woman at? Where's she at gracing your video? She could have been there on that video too. He's talking about here it is, this, that, and the other. Where's she at? Oh, we gotta look a certain kind of way. Where we at? But anyway, going back to this. So I encourage our men who are out there talking about reparations on that HR 40. I encourage you to please pick up the housing industry, and I mean what that is. Get involved in repairing some of the properties here and there and getting involved in some kind of way. That's the encouragement. We got a whole housing market out there. We want the people to get involved and to participate in what that is, because the thing is that you got HUD housing. I will break it all down for you, but I think I gave a big clue when it comes to the HUD housing. You have also all these different real estate schools, and not only real estate schools, but you also have, if you go on meetup.com, they got all kind of real estate, this, that, and the other. Get those men involved in the real estate industry to find out what's going on. Meet up with some of these other real estate industries. Find out about their leadership classes. Find some business about yourself. Go up there to, these different places, not only in Georgia, but wherever they have, and all this predatory lending and all these different kind of other things and these different programs that they have. Find out about the housing market. Find out about the homeless people. All those men sitting out there, find out about that too. You want to talk about reparations? What about our beings? Find out about all those things that they're doing, their substances, their mental, all of that. Okay? That right there in itself is a task. And yet you got people, them, hey, get with them. How in the world are you going to sit here and look for land? And I said, well, if they're looking for land, what they doing with it? And what strict me under Nguzo Saba, what I wanted to do is look at certain things, blessings. Look at certain things in terms of the housing market. So the way I kind of considered it, so this is just FYI for them to be like, okay, well, if you're going to help people clean up off the street, that's good. Hey, look at this affordable housing and stuff. You know, there's loans and grants out there to help a brother and sister out in that process. Here it is, I ain't going to fit to you. We're passing that hot potato on to the Cobra. That's your responsibility. Because I'm like, well, what are they doing in terms of the land that they calling out for? But anyway, get to know the affordable. Is this the truth? Find out about these affordable housing programs. Okay? And of course, when you're doing that, you got people who's been working with it, and they also need houses. Okay? So who you feel like you should cater to? Okay, you need to probably cater to here it is, the people who are involved with you, and they looking for employment and things like that. You know what I mean? So the reason why people ain't out there volunteering the way that they are because some of these organizations are not really providing the sustenance to the people who are on base in the first thing on place. Well, I ain't going to argue with you about that here, but all these people who are out there in these organizations and even in these transitional housing, here it is, in Cobra shall find themselves involved in what that is. Why are men out there looking like that? I don't understand it. But anyway, well, it's just the truth. I mean, all these other people, they're out there, they're investing in certain things, and the reason why I call that thing, just as I stated before, hot potato, because here it is one of those things. You can make it mashed potatoes, you can make potato salad, you can make, but yet you already know it's starch. And here it is, that's iron on, baby. That is in Cobra's business. Our housing market and why those abandoned houses look like it looks, that's a reflection of in Cobra. I ain't gonna fib to you. How you gonna be? What are they doing? They got land? What are they doing with it? Well, before I go back on, we go here and there, I don't want y'all to get upset with me, okay? Okay, stop. But the thing, do not, I just want to express that here it is, we have these neighborhood associations, these people are complaining about these abandoned properties, and then they're sitting there, and that we have people who need employment, and I want to say this, that they have all these different programs, and they're legit, and be able to raise money, and the money that they already have, get a construction team and start rehabilitating these properties. I'm going to that, and then house people who need affordable housing. You know, we have a lot of people who are living in apartments. Their whole promotion should be about home ownership. Their promotion should be about home ownership. They should have a healthy, okay, a real estate portfolio under their belt. So that when people are looking for properties, not only are they rehabilitated properties where they work with a array of people. So let's give you an example of how this, because I was like, well, how does that look? Well, when we look at, let's just say, for an example, okay, they clean up a house. So the way that they would do it is that, of course, in terms of affordable housing, that means that you need to find you a bank that you're going to do your lending practices with. Okay? Speaking of bank, I wanted to say that bank, we have an old bank right here on Campbellton and Fairburn. This bank is there. Now, you know, I like banking. Okay, I used to be a banker. My suggestion is I don't know all the owned small or private owned banks that they got in Atlanta, whether you want to call whatever color y'all want to call it. I don't know. Don't get me twisted. They should have opened that already and provided certain services at this small bank. There is no bank on this strip at all on Campbellton. So the thing is that you would assume that here it is. Let me explain something to you. You know much about a community by how many banks are housed in the community. Now, I'm not looking for a whole lot of banks to come around in our community. It's just the truth. But when you go to a small area and you see that there's a lot of banks, that means that there's money. Not the student that we do or do not have money. Don't get me to fibbing. But it would be nice to see Capital Bank, is it Capital Bank, or whatever bank you want to put over here, and people are able to house their money. Okay? So the thing is that when we look, there's a small little bank right there on Campbellton, okay, that needs to be fixed up. It would be good. We don't have no chicken and waffles over here. They have a small little restaurant over there. It would be good for them to build, restructure that thing right there. I don't know. It used to be a little fast restaurant, fish and chips, to get one of them to come in and rehabilitate that restaurant, or the Shark Tank or whoever it was with his ice cream and pancakes. Whether they're making a breakfast house, I don't care. But they need to rehabilitate that property too. But anyway, we have a small bank that's over here that needs to be housed. Okay? Now, whether they decide to work on whatever bank that is, because that's what the relationship they need to do, and they create that, whatever that is they need to do, now they'll look for people who will qualify to rent or rent to own properties. Okay? So now you can get these houses rented out. Or now you can get it on lease to purchase. Okay? Or you got these apartment buildings. Here it is, whether you're making homes for people who are disabled or people who need particular assistance, now you're able to actually get social workers to come in, and whether there's a special team when we're looking at those persons that are actually inside of the these facilities, blessings, persons that went somewhere else, but you know what I mean. But if we're able to find out the needs and the care, so you will get your applications and all that stuff and kind of stuff. You will have your documents and your files and all that kind of stuff, so that when you're doing certain services, you know where that is at. So this is why they should be over there trying to figure out if they can get that property on Kimberly and Cascade. And I sent, here it is, Brother Jamoke, some pictures of that facility over there that needs to be rehabilitated, and that's where they can house right here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I ain't going to go back and forth and be arguing with nobody, but this is the truth. Okay? So they can house it right on over there. Okay? Now, I wanted to say that moving on from there. Okay? So that's for that's for the National Coalition of Black People, or reparations. Please repair our housing market. Please repair our housing market. Please, okay, I ain't gonna go in there. Do your investigation on that. Okay, I received a phone call today from the office of Keisha Bottoms. Call from the office of Keisha Bottoms. The young lady that called me, I think her name was, what was her name? Shanari. Was it Shanari? Excuse me. It was Dashika. Miss Dashika, she gave me a call, and I was really excited. I ain't gonna fib to you. I was fumbling over words, and I was going here and there with that, I was like, I was just excited to try to, I guess, communicate whatever it was that I was trying to communicate to her. But the conversation was that I had went to the Southwest Cultural Center, or the Art Center, and they had this pamphlet, and I really didn't look through my junk to see if I had it. Matter of fact, I think I was actually trying to leave that particular flyer here and there. And the issue was about aviation, okay? And yes, I am. The aviation industry, okay? And I was like, oh, okay, that's really nice, you know. When we think of aviation, we're just thinking about some of the films they've given us, Flight and the Tuskegee Airmen and all that kind of stuff. And the thought in this stuff was like, okay, well, if we were able to get people who are actually in the aviation industry, so I'm actually trying to pass on that to her because she's in this area, but she said Mr. Martin, Mr. Martin actually over the Charlie Brown, over the Charlie Brown Airport. Charlie Brown Airport, which is over there at Fulton County. And so I wanted to actually create a conversation or, get the dialogue going or hear the gossip or the conversation about the aviation industry. I ain't going to fib to you. This is 3WD, True Amelioration. The question is well, this is the truth. Where is the black or swarthy onyx people you have that actually have their own airline industry? We do not have it. Now, I'm not counting Africa or the Caribbean. I'm talking about right here in the United States of America. Now, I can bounce around here and here and here. Maybe I missed it. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Aviation, and because, we haven't changed it to onyx yet, so I have to write black. Aviation and black history. I gotta look at black history. Ain't that something? Matter of fact, well, you do have people who's doing that. They're trying to bring forth some consciousness. But anyway, I'm on Black History Daily. And so what they have here, they have Black History in Aviation, Black American pilots, aviators, and their contribution to aviation. Now, we know about Bessie Coleman. Now, they have Lindbergh. I wonder if that's named at the Lindbergh station. They have Willa Brown Chapel. Then they have, let me see here, Arnold Tamayo. I don't know. We have, why we didn't know about this man here? I mean, come on now. In this 2007, what's his name? Oh, a Jamaican named Obalaka. Obalaka, he done broke record. He was, so they say, he flown around, I guess the world in a pilot plane. Okay? So what we're looking for is, as I was speaking with Ms. Dashika, is to get that conversation and a momentum going about finding people who are in the aviation industry so that we can build an airline, a small airline or regional airline for people who are entrepreneurs in aviation. It's okay. It's all right. Excuse me. Let me see. Okay, it's fine. Good word. It's okay. We can do that. And so we have Charlie Brown. When we look at the Atlanta airport, Hartsfield. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, wonderful. Anyway, we have Charlie Brown Airport that's right here on Fulton Industrial, Martin Luther King. Okay, so just looking at that, and then there's some smaller other airports that are here and there. Okay, I know that they have one over there in Peachtree Industrial, and then we also have some in the Lake Oconee. But anyway, if we were able to do small charter blessings in Georgia, and then go regional, then that would be ideal. You understand? It's like here it is upgrading not only the knowledge and the scope of education, but to also find the aviators, let me see, um, aviators who are able to invest in that idea so that we can begin airline and be a part of the airline industry. Okay? Let me go over here. I'm trying to look at this thing right here. Now, I talk about Bessie Coleman. Man, I tell you the God honest truth. They make it seem as if here it is, what? We got the federal this is, and so anyway, I mentioned to her that I was going to actually send her an email and send her this email. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and copy this right now. This seems like a lot of information that she can look at. American Historical Association, Astronaut Scholarship Foundation, the Air Traffic Control Association. There's the Louisiana listings of aviation scholarships, federal aviation scholarships, the Louis A. Jackson Aviation Scholarship, the Texas Space Grant Consortium. I mean, this falls under the STEMs: science, technology, engineering, and math. We need aviators. So anyway, when she was having the conversation, they were talking about, oh, okay, well, here it is. These people in aviation. I don't know. Then I went somewhere else. But anyway, I was just like, oh, hi, that will be really, really grand if we're able to get the conversation flowing among people who are in aviation. The men in them that actually fly planes, not just on the ramp or doing flagging and all that kind of stuff. That's good. I'm not disputing that. Don't get me to fibbing. But what would be even greater is to actually see that we actually in the United States of America, and then yet you will argue with me about this and that. Hey, we should already have had aviation. So anyway, the conversation was with Miss Dashika to try to get the momentum in the conversation going about aviation and modern today. So that means that here it is, people can put forth their money, people who buy our planes that are not really sure how the engine goes, whether it's a small craft and grows into a large one, whether we're transporting people on a local level or regional level, then throughout the state or however it goes. We can do that. Airtron did it. So I mean, there's scholarships and things like that. I was just looking at this. Mr. Dr. Louis A. Jackson, Timothy R. Gaffney. I guess these people were in aviation. They have lectures and exhibits, and most of this stuff seems like it's outdated. Yet they have exhibit series and all that kind of stuff. I ain't gonna fib to you. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to look at some of these things. We don't have to go into the Army to do aviation. Don't they have some? I ain't gonna fib to you. Outside of me traveling back and forth to Jamaica when I was traveling back and forth to Jamaica, I ain't gonna fib to you. I ain't even seen none then. So they must be. I ain't gonna fib to you. I'm probably only seen one. Do we have any of them? Don't get me fibbing. Do we have black pilots outside of the Army? So anyway, I'm looking, Black Pilots of America Incorporated, providing an atmosphere. Organization of Black Aerospace. We Onyx people. I've explained that. We're Onyx people. ONYX. Black Pilots of America. Okay. I tell you, the gun owners too, huh? Okay. Okay. I said we need to upgrade. Aviation is STEMs. What I do not understand is why we have not produced, here it is, the opportunity of communicating that, hey, there are black pilots in America, or even create our own aviation, where everybody wants their own. The thing is that some acknowledgement. I have not ever seen a black pilot. Don't give me the fibbing. I don't travel here and there either, but I'm looking. But aviation is a part of STEM. Even though they were bigging it up to the youth and implying this, that, and the other, I just haven't seen it. But anyway, moving right along from that. In terms of science, technology, engineering, math, yes, we want to promote aviation and maritime navigation. Okay, being able to navigate on the water. That means the boat industry. How many of these folks know how to build a boat, drive a boat? We need people to be on ships. We need navigators. Okay? And that just made me wonder. I said, you see all these people, they going back and forth on their ships, and they're sailing here and sailing there. And I said, wow, I wonder, blessings, if these people are actually like the Africans. Are they sailing from Africa and the Caribbean? Are they sailing from there to Asia or India? I was like, or are they just, as a matter of fact, I just wonder if even the South African Army have even traveled up the Red Sea. Don't give me the fib, but I'm just asking. Okay, so when it comes down to STEM, STEEM, no. In terms of engineering, yes, we should be at a capacity where we're building, not only building ships or engines, or things of that nature, but we should be in the know. And that process should be, we should have already, which I have not heard or seen, but let me look. I'm online. Okay, voyages. I spelled voyages wrong. To Africa. Let me see. Let me see if this boats. Or let me see, ships. We should have already been traveling back and forth to Africa, like how they have those, like we have, excuse me, like we have, what is them things, Royal Caribbean and Carnival. Did you know, leaving from Georgia, that it would probably be faster or even a trip in itself to have a boat from them to travel to Africa, like Liberia or Gambia? So why did they just take us from South Carolina to go over there to Bahamas? Did you know that here it is almost the same length of time? It's just assumed. I think you probably only spent a day just on that boat. We should have already, the black community, the Onyx community, I have to have that conversation too. But the Onyx community should have already established those as ports of call. If you can't create your own boat industry or shipping industry or entertainment boat industry, I don't know what you want to call it, okay, then here it is. They should have partnered up with Carnival Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean or call it Royal Africa, and already have participated in getting ships to go over there to Africa as ports of call. call so that here it is, we are able to have access to the Africans and also share our resources and our money. We shouldn't have to feel like we have to fight. Not everybody want to fly. Everybody probably don't want. But that boat ride, it could get over there in one day. Matter of fact, the time that it would take over to go to the Bahamas. Okay, so you see where here it is while we're going around and around and around with foolishness, there's other things to do. Yeah, I'm sure I can. Here it is, the United States. Who can make a boat? So this is what true amelioration is about here. True amelioration is about just those kind of things. Innovation. Doing things that we are not doing today. Doing things that or if we're doing it, generate awareness so that here it is, people can participate in those things so that we can also do that thing in terms of Nguzo Saba. Okay, so the thing is that we need to be involved in these particular things. Is there a lot more other things? Sure it is. But in terms of mode of transportation, my encouragement is to try to have more people to get involved. You know how many, most of these, I can't understand it. We got all these men laying around here and talking about jobs and things like that. Blessings. We need people to get employed. And we're not creating the jobs or the employment or the careers. So the question would be, know the difference between job, employment, creation, business owners, career. Job, employment, creation, business owner, career. Understand those things. What is it? Moving on from there. So yes, blessings. Understanding where we are today. And here it is. What does that mean? That means that there is a lot of room in terms of developing relationships. That means that in itself, when you're doing business and you're having conversations with people who are actually involved in the industry, then here it is, there is a likeness and an incline of what that is. That is at a professional level. Not just buying a yacht. Not just purchasing a yacht, but actually purchasing a ship boat so that here it is, you're able to move cargo and our people to and fro from one end to the next end. And it's just the truth. And so I talked about ports. But I think that it would be really, really good idea for those in the hospitality industry and those who have an interest in working with the cruise ships, that's it, cruise ships, that they should create the ports of call. Create the ports of call in Africa. Let me look at Africa. Because I wanted to know too, like why in the world we don't have travel over here the way that it could be, you know. So when we look at the ports of call of Africa, they can go, we can, in terms of going from, let's say, there's Mauritania, there's Senegal, there's Guyana, there's Ivory Coast, all these areas, especially when you be looking at these areas right here, all those ports of calls. Matter of fact, they can make a whole trip just to Africa alone. You get to one end, whether it's Morocco, spend a day there, go all on the, and I haven't seen that yet. Matter of fact, let me look on here. I haven't. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Let me look at Cruise Carnival. Or for cruises only. And let me see if they actually have it. Because sometimes, we could be chit-chatting and carrying on a certain kind of way, and yet they have all kinds of stuff. But I just haven't heard of it, honey. I haven't heard nobody say they done took a cruise over there to Africa and all them good old ports all on the western side of Africa from the north and the west. Baby, let's get on it. I'm just trying to ask somebody. And we should have already been on that. Okay, let me look. Let me see if they got Africa on here. What? I don't see Africa on here at all. Oh, hold on. Exotic. Asia and Africa and other. So, okay, they just add that on there. But let me look. Okay. Okay, let me see if this, okay, well, hold on. Let me search. Okay, this is just FYI. Sometimes I just be on the road, on random. Because this is the truth. Okay, let's see here. Okay, that's not Africa. Okay, I said Africa. Let me see. Okay, we have Asia. Oh boy, I haven't seen okay, Asia, Africa, other. How many lines is this on here? Okay, let me check the other one. No, we should have already from the United States been able to have cruises that will go over into Africa. So when we look on the East Coast, up to 95 from Florida, up to Maine and all up in those places, there should have already comfortably been cruises that would have taken us, or in terms of travel, up to Greenland, up to Norway, and all the way from Norway to South Africa. And I find that interesting if you think about it. They do have cruises that go from here to the Caribbean, but I haven't, and then actually they do. They do have cruises that go from here to Europe, but they don't have any cruises that go from here to, not here, but from Galveston, Texas to Europe. But yet they don't have cruises that go from here to Africa. Now, my suggestion would be for those, again, get on it, okay? For those who are in the hospitality or whatever industry that is to actually set forth conversation about adding that thing and that tourism to Africa, okay? And then yet here it is, that conversation about aviation and us being able to establish that. So anyway, moving right along to the ULU. The ULU is, so anyway, I did not see it, okay? The ULU is us lifting us. Now, I've spoken with ULU, and I've spoken, I think it was Shinare, and what they were looking for was people who would be able to participate in their membership. And my outcry, as I explained to her, was that my interest is actually to be involved with, I'm also looking for people to participate with street meets. And, by the grace of goodness, she called me back after the conversation, the teleconference that we had, and she said, well, you sure said a lot. I'll talk to you later. I was like, I know that's right. Just to know that there are so many educated people out there, and there's all these other things in terms of how we need to balance ourselves a certain kind of way, and how we need to kind of condition how we do business, and understanding what that thing is, and to try to appropriate those things. It don't have to be like, it could be like, we can, it's just available. It's there and it's available for us to actually engage, thank you, and involve ourselves to create the careers that are there. We do have a lot of people who have hospitality degrees and business degrees, and they do know about engineering and things of that nature. But I am looking for mechanical engineers, people who know how to build things. You know, I asked this man today, and he was telling me, I have a CD. I said, do you know how that CD is made? And he said, no. I said, well, that's what true amelioration is about. We want to find out how we utilize raw materials and make that thing it. And so when I look at true amelioration and those people look at those things even from their own thoughts, what do you think can come out of that? What can be different out of this particular things that they see there? There's an idea there, but guess what? We will have to work on those things, and those in itself, not committees, but those committees can turn into the corporate entity. And guess what? When you're talking about anybody can go out there and get a business thing, but when you start talking about corporation, you need bylaws, you need to have board of directors and all that kind of stuff when you're looking at corporation, and that's what true amelioration is about here. Now, there's just a few little things that's here and there, so that they don't make it seem like say you're in certain things such as those things that should be given to like a housing and reparations. You know that's together. In Cobra, hello. But anyway, their conversation is that they were looking for more people to participate in their Us Lifting Us. So I encourage you, please go to usliftingus.com. They do have this ideology of a supermarket or super facility for those who are interested in pursuing, I guess, the scope. And so they was like, well, I was like, I know that's right. I sure wish I had the money to do certain things. But what I can't understand is we got those empty buildings or those unused places that just look like it look over there at Campbellton Road. And I'm like, well, why would we be looking anywhere else? Honey, they should have already put claim on those properties right there. They should have already said, listen, we're on Campbellton Road and fix those properties and build whatever they're talking about. That would be FYI from Irene Ratliff. We have not only over here on Campbellton Road on the same side as Greenbrier Mall, but we also have those other shopping plazas that's on the other side. I don't know if it's called Westgate or Eastgate, I don't know. But that over there is also empty. And it has a big parking lot. And so I asked the gentleman, I said, well, I was just fabricating some information. And that information was, I don't think myself personally, this was the conversation, I do not assume that 1,000 people, I'm not watching them. Matter of fact, I need to go up there to Greenbrier Mall and see what's going on. But the thing is I was like talking about 1,000 people going up to Greenbrier Mall on a daily basis. I mean, 1,000 people could go up to the Greenbrier Mall on a daily basis. I don't know. Maybe here it is. Okay, let's just be realistic. Okay, for that to be a mall and the traffic at Greenbrier Mall, I would say, okay, give and take, maybe about 2,500 people. Then I ain't going to all that. I ain't going to argue with you. But the thing is that Greenbrier is an initiative, and I think that in terms of Nguzo Saba, that would be something that we should be looking at. Why? We need to know who is the property owner and manager over that property. The reason why is because we want to upgrade the Greenbrier Mall. And how do we upgrade it? I'm talking about B. Smith. She got a restaurant. I was talking about the Carol's daughter. I was also communicating about Fat Burger. Let me see if that's Fat Burger. Let me come over here and look on this really quick. Hold on. Now, anyway, you know what I mean. When I say what I mean, honey, we can take them cruises out of South Carolina. Honey, we don't have to drive away. We'd be South Carolina, Savannah to go to them cruises. Okay, hold on. Let me see if it's Fat Burger. Fat Burger. Is it Fat Burger? Ooh, he has some good old burgers. Fat Burger. They do have a Fat Burger, girl. They over here on 2625 Piedmont. Let me go over here and look at this. What? Oh, he up in Canada too? Ooh. Oh, he just doing his dang on thing. I don't see where is he at in Latin America. Oh, he in South America. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, they ain't gonna feel you. They got some good burgers. Mm-hmm. I guess we're gonna have to work on some few things, and the reason why is because they're a little pricey. Miss Arlene, that's on like a special treat. Let me see. It's my final location. Let me see. They're over here on Piedmont. So anybody who likes Fat Burger, hold on. They could not find a location for enter zip code or city. Let me put in Atlanta. Okay, now they just said that they have one over here at Piedmont. You know the Fat Burger over here? Okay. So, okay, you understand what I mean when I say what I mean? We should be looking at Greenbrier Mall, and even with Greenbrier Mall to uplift Greenbrier Mall. We have a movie theater sitting in the backyard of the Greenbrier Mall, and that right there needs people to be involved in it. Now, I wonder why Magic Johnson came up out of the movie industry, the movie theater industry. But we do have other people who have resources. Now, I've taken some pictures of the inside of the theater. My thought would have been if there was the resources available in the community, which it is, we have the resources to open up the movie theater. Now, I ain't gonna fib to you. We got people with money. Why are we talking about crying out to open up the movie theater? It wouldn't have mattered if they wanted to do all 3D. They could have opened up the sucker and made it $1 to $5 movie theater, okay, give or take the situation. But that movie theater should be open. Don't tell me about Camp Creek. I'm talking about right here at Greenbrier Mall. Now, going back to ULU. So anyway, their objective, blessings, is to open up this super center. But I'm like, again, repeat it, looking at the shopping plazas that we have around the Greenbrier Mall area. Does it need to be rehabilitated? Probably. Could they add what they're talking about in there? Yes. Can it be achieved today? Yes. Where are the people who are trying to invest with them in that ideology? You know what I mean? It's like, here it is. Some of the times these people, they're stagnant because here it is, they're looking for their community to help them fulfill a vision. Now, whether they feel like they want to be, and they want to be a part of the Nguzo Saba effort under the UJAMA, which is the cooperative economics. And so you would assume that here it, those people will participate with them. So I'm calling out to the community. What about all these? So my question was, I just wondered, in terms of sponsorship, we should be able to call any of these people, especially when we see that these people are entertainers or people here and there looking for sponsors and stuff like that. Guess what? We can call on them. Matter of fact, because we do give them our money, most of these entertainers that are here and there in the international community, if we call them, and yet here it is, we supply our money to them, and we go and we support their movies or their music, I'm going to let you know right now that yes, we can communicate with them, okay? And yet, shouldn't they, and I'm like, wow, it's such a small thing. It is. They should have already been able to achieve. So anyway, I talked to a young lady named Shanare, and she was in terms of her speaking, she was just flowing with the dang old thing. I was like, you go ahead, girl. I was like, you just chit-chatting with me. And, here it is, all that redundancy. The reason why most of that stuff in that conversation sounds like it's redundant is because they're trying to communicate with their community about them trying to achieve something for them. Anyway, I don't know. They're talking about membership. Can somebody please, the people out there, you guys, can you please donate some money? But they don't have to go far, 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 way, way, way over there. They can go right here, over here on Hamilton Road, over here on Hamilton. Please donate the money so these people, oh, we need the memberships and this, that, the other. And I'm like, okay, if I give you the membership money, what we going to do in the meantime? What's going on in between time? They should have already collected that property already, okay? Don't play. Y'all messing around. Hold on, please. I'm going to put the phone on mute. Thank you. Thank you for holding the phone. Oh yeah, I mentioned that we can chat. So here it is. If you're interested in chatting, please, please, please go on the chat and you can chat with me. Okay? But I wanted to say, go back to the conversation about church and grassroots efforts. Now, the thing is the reason why most of these grassroots need, hey, I'm out here and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I was like, well, what would I do with X amount of dollars? Right? And whether it's a buku amount or here and there. So the conversation began, or it kind of leaned like this, is that most of the things I want to do require some construction. So that means that I would have to hire people to actually do certain things. So when we're looking at why we don't see people vital in our community the way that we would like to see them in a community, it's because the participation. A lot of people are so, let's give you an example. This guy, he was like, well, I don't know, Irene, here it is, my buddies, I could tell them, but I was telling this dude just about this thing right now, Irene, but you know what, guess what, they ain't gonna want to do all that, they gonna want to drink and smoke. You want to sit here and question, you can still do research. What does your drinking and smoking have to do with this, that, and the other? But he was willing to say he didn't want to do anything at all because he wanted to do his drink and his smoke. And so if you don't want to work for Kite Society, we still have Naguzo Saba. And there's also True Amelioration. But, oh no, he told me that he wanted to just drink and smoke. And I know that's right. I was like, okay, but again, when we look at Peter Tosh or hear that song, legalize it, honey, you better believe it. While he was sitting there talking about all these other people who are doing it, and they were still functioning, that doesn't mean that here it is you should stop functioning. That means that here it is you should continue to work. Okay? Now here it is, what makes things memorable is the work. It says that work will set you free. But then I'm going to let you know something right now. Monetary work will set you free. Because I ain't going to fib to you. How do you raise certain situations without people participating? That means that you have to take on interest in what that thing is to get involved so that you can achieve certain things so that you can help not only your community, but other people who may be involved in organizations, blessings, achieve blessings, those things that are necessary for us to actually look and achieve success. What is it? That'll be the question. What is it? Should these grassroots entities lean on the churches? Yes. One of the things that I wanted to do was actually to get some of those people who may be to actually gain some money from the church. But then they want to throw that little thing in there. Yeah, are you 501c? I'm like, uh-huh. You know, I was aiming for a fiscal sponsor. I didn't do that. Then I'm communicating on one end here. I'm doing this, and I ain't gonna fib to you. The thing is that you can receive services, and there's also charity. But street meet actually needs participation. Then through your participation, now we could probably look at certain resources. So, for an example, on Ujima, that park area, they call it the Horseshoe on Utoy Springs and Cascade. We can go and get some bags from the city of Atlanta. We could go to this other area for tunes that they will allow us to borrow and all that. But if we don't have the people to help do that, then here it is. What difference does it make? I do need to get in contact with that man on 101050. What's his name? Maybe, you know, I could work with him. And, you know, I'm not too shy to try to work with different people here and there. Homeboy, 101050. Oh, snap. Hold on. I'm going to say that I'll come back to the phone call if it hangs up a certain kind of way. I hope not. Uh-huh. But for some reason, oh, goody, it's still on there. Woo-hoo. Let me go back over here. Oh, gosh. I actually end up typing in my blog talk. And it's like, oh, God, this is my little conversation that I'm having with my audience. Matter of fact, I was trying to see, 101050 is on PSU radio. So for those who are having interest in 101050, PSU radio. Okay, moving on from that. So please, I ask, I'm not really sure if this information is valid, but it's Us Lifting Us, the Economic Development Cooperative. Please get involved. There is an interest. Let me see. Excuse me for the pauses. But as I stated before, okay, there you go. Okay, good. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it still had me on air. So I was like, oh, let me make sure that it still says on air on my studio. But anyway, going on from these little things there, from the LUL, Keisha Bottoms, also in Cobra. I wanted to iterate that Street Meat Company will be hosting Street Meat Mingo on July 6th, 2014 at 2 p.m. What I would like it to actually grow into, blessings, is to actually have jumpers and things for the kids, to have the drums and the music, and to get involved in certain things a certain kind of way. Let me write this right here. I'm like, for real, please donate the money so we can get that thing started. If you don't have that get involved and find out what they got going on and how they want to achieve that. Because I'm like, honey, that should have been up and done already, okay? So here it is. Help us see certain things manifest in our communities. You know, you got people want us to think bad and crazy and all. I mean, when you got people out there just trying to do some of the simplest things in terms of trying to help us upgrade, my encouragement is try to help, achieve, okay, apply. Listeners, you can call 646-564-9776. We are on the air up to 120 minutes daily, starting at 11:30 p.m. You can visit our website at www.streetmeet.biz and meetup.com/street-meet. I wanted to go into another conversation really quick, and that was about racism. And I was looking at something. Oh, my daughter, she was actually looking at something and talking about Onyx people. And I was like, wow, you know, in this day and age, you know, swarthy women, we're going through a cycle of something. And here it is, that cycle, when we're looking at our Onyx men and maybe what they're doing and how that may look and how that's being applied and blase, 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 okay? So anyway, as I was looking at the stuff, they was talking about how the Africans are actually bleaching their skin. I said, what? Who told them that? Who told them? Or who? They over there in their country. Who's encouraging them to bleach their skin? Bleaching their skin. Now, the thing is, I started to ask, well, what about white people who tan? So black African bleaching skin on white people who tan. Is it an argument? That would be a question. Is it an argument? This is just some concern that was being addressed. Now, the thing is that when we look at the scope of, let's say here it is, the Africans and bleaching cream, is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's a matter of opinion. It is a question. It's a matter of question. Is it something that we should have a conversation about, or is it just here it is it okay? I mean, to me, if you ask me, I'm like, well, if the black people using bleach cream and the white folks are tan, and what difference does it make? So that would be my take on that, okay? So if they're out there and they're lightening their skin, what is... Okay, moving on from that. Moving on from there, honey. All right. What else is going on today? I want to say for those who like agriculture, please pick up that man that be over there selling his fruits and veggies. You know, I did juice today, earlier on today, and I've been talking about the lemon pepper wings, and I did have that too. But I have participating in the walking. I ain't gonna fit to you, honey. We got heels. And those heels, Hills, or something. And I took one trip, and it seemed like it took me 2 hours to get back. And then I did another one, and it took me about an hour and 30 minutes. So I tell you the God honest truth. So I am exercising, I am juicing, and the encouragement would be to do more juicing and less, less fats or calories intake. And I think every little step it matters, and that's true. I'm trying to incorporate water and all that kind of stuff, and I do encourage us exercising. So anyway, they were showing this picture of this voluptuous woman, and I know that our men love our thickness, so I'm not disputing that. Thank you so much for those who like thick women. Thank you, we appreciate it. But our encouragement is to try to promote eating healthier, and then also the onset of us and encouraging exercise, please. Here it is, our community, when they want to do comparisons in terms of health, our numbers are really, really tall or high, depending if you want to look at it on the negative or on the positive end of the stick. We do need to promote healthiness. Now, I know I'm working on it, okay? So don't get it twisted. But do I feel like, I feel like here it is, there's some vigor, and there's some vim, and there's some tenacity, and there's some resilience, there's some goodness. Yay! Exercise. I wanted to say I was supposed to go to this meeting today at Hands on Atlanta, which is over there by Georgia Tech. So I got on the bus today over there at 5 Points. Now it was early, or it was like in the mid-afternoon, so I really didn't see the big crowd of people that you normally see that's over there in the area. But lo and behold, I got on bus 1. And I rode over there, and I said, you know what, my question is, in terms of MARTA, why aren't these people riding on these buses the way that they should? So anyway, I got on bus 1, and I didn't drive it all the way to one end to the next. I was supposed to be at this meeting at 10 a.m., but on my books, it said 11:30. Now, I ain't going to fib to you. I try to make sure that most of that stuff is correct, especially when I'm putting it on meetup.com website, okay? In terms of the calendar, it's really accessible and easy for me to get to it. I used to put it on my calendar on my phone, but then I put it on Meetup because I was trying to share the information. But anyway, I didn't, once I got there, I decided that, okay, I'm just go ahead and leave from there because, Miss Miss Hynetta. I'm like, girlfriend, I wasn't intentionally trying to be late. I was trying to get here at 10 o'clock. So now I have to make sure that the information I put on my meetup.com is aligned with where I get those resources from. So most of my meetings that are actually on meetup.com, they come from a variety of other sources, from other organizations or participants of the government, or here, this place, that place, Eventbrite, meetup.com. So it comes from different places, okay? So I put it on meetup.com, blessings, so that here it is, other people are able to engage. One of the sole things about Street Meat Company is to engage the participation. Is that right? Anyway, we just want you to participate. No, not just participate. We want you to be involved and get engaged and have a good time. It's free to sign up, but I ain't going to fib to you. You get up on meetup.com, I'm going to let you know right now. I got you. I'm going to let you know. I want you to participate in the organizations, and I want you to donate. Because the thing is that what we do need to do, find out what area each one of these people actually want to get involved in. And then I will be looking for those individuals to actually participate in what that thing is. So on my questions, I asked for a telephone number. Now I got 2 new people that provide their telephone number, and I will be calling you, whoever you are, so that we can engage the conversation about which group you'll be interested in. And it's just the truth. Once you leave your telephone number, you are talking to a live person. This is not a recording. My name is Irene Ratliff. I am with Street Meat Company. So I'm going to give these young ladies a call because they said that they do want to participate. They provided their number, And so the thing is that we have one, two, three, four, five committees. And we need those things. We need people to participate so that they can do this and do that. But anyway, I rode on bus one, and that goes by Georgia Tech. Oh gosh, it looks so beautiful over there, and the bus goes around. So I only went from 5 Points around to the other side, okay? And so I went over there, and I was like, oh goodness gracious. Okay, you know when folks have been filling up them buses and traveling. Hello? I think they had some Atlanta mission or something over there, too. You know, they had that over there. And all those men hanging out there in Cobra. Hello? Okay. So they had those men hanging out over there, and I just said, okay. But I couldn't understand, and I guess if you look at the location, why bus one is not really being utilized. I only rode it once, so I really don't know the flow, so don't give me the figure. There may be all kinds of people who get on bus one. I don't know. But I thought that the area and the route of where the bus go, more white people who are coming from Atlanta Tech should be, not Atlanta Tech, Georgia Tech, should be riding on that bus. Then they went over there. Oh, I ain't gonna flip you. Oh, I got me some cute little bags. Girl, I said, I went over there to the side. See, I'm all in my bag and everything. Saying, you know, here it is. I have to what? Manage my stuff. I got this cute little handmade bag from the Salvation Army. Now, you know, I do get my clothes from people who donate their clothing. So when you see me, it ain't that I ain't trying to be sharp, because you know I want to. Just because I'm plump don't mean I can't look cute. I'm working on it. Matter of fact, I need to go over here to Every Woman Works. I do get some of my garments from there. And I may go over here to this homeless shelter and see if I can pick up some garments from over there too. Okay? So anyway, went to the Salvation Army. Ooh, I got a cute little bag. And so I was asking the lady, I said, ooh, do you think I could put a lot of heavy things in this bag? And just based on the handle, the answer to that would probably be no. But for some of my resumes or, you know, when I'm trying to do a presentation, ooh, what a handsome little bag that I have there. And then I got another little bag, and I have got a little suit and everything. I was like, wow, that is really, really chic. They got the Salvation Army over there. They got Georgia Tech anyway. The thing is, where are, I do want to take the time because what's tomorrow? What's today? Oh, Lord. I went in there and I missed the whole working session today. Nothing around. Oh, is that today? Let me see. I missed the work session today with Marta. That was yesterday. And of course I don't have it on my meetup.com. That's what I say. I try to keep most of the stuff on my meetup.com. I do rely on my schedule with meetup.com. I put it on the phone, but I didn't do that because I wanted to share where I was going here and there. And unfortunately, that's a big no. I ended up missing out on the meeting. I missed out on another meeting today, too. Yesterday. I've been slacking. Maybe it was that clutter. Anyway, I had to call it an early evening. Maybe it was the clutter. Anyway, now that I cleaned everything up, I guess I'll go ahead and go to some of these places and go here and there. I'm talking about my child, you know, she had her things everywhere. I'm like, girl, we got to straighten this stuff up. So when I'm be talking, I'll be seeing this all this clutter, and I'm like, oh, I got office work today, so I've kind of slipped up on my schedule from going here and there. So I do actually have an engagement to attend to tomorrow. Okay, so anyway, I'll be out and about tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Let's see. Yep, I thought I was going to have an open work day, but, nope. I will be engaging in some of these other office meetings that I actually do not put on the meetup, okay? Because the thing is that for some people, whether they're interested or not, that will be our links to the relationships that we're trying to establish with Meetup.com. But there's a transportation committee. I ain't gonna fib to you, honey. I'm still a little disappointed about missing that MARTA thing. I could have stayed at MARTA all day yesterday. But anyway, to make a long story short, Route 1 that goes around Georgia Tech. Why them folks ain't on that bus? But I do not know that because I don't really ride but Route 1 to see if Georgia Tech students are riding on it. So don't give me the fibbing. But I did see how nice and good looking it looked like over there. I thought that was pretty good. Hold on, please. What's okay? I'm back online. I did put the call on hold. You know, I do have teenagers, and I'm conversating. As I stated before, I do like this whole giddy up on me being able to be on Blog Talk Radio. I feel like I'm able to, I guess, be online at the scheduled hour from anywhere. And of course, here it is. I just happen to be right here in Atlanta, Georgia. But I want to say, boy, I tell you the truth, right now I feel like I just want to, wow, really, I missed a whole day of meeting. Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna fib to you today. I wanted to get over here and clean up this mess, and I really didn't think anything of it. But anyway, that work is a part of Street Meat Company. So anyway, going on to this, I have a meeting early in the morning. 9:30 a.m. and I'm going to be able to attend some of this community foundation. So I'll be attending that too. Wow. Woo-hoo-hoo. The library, as a matter of fact, I need to go up there to the library. As I stated before, though, there are some things I want us to communicate, and that communication will be on the law. And so I have maybe about 2 or 3 different books where I actually want to pull some resources and be able to communicate in that way. And I also need to write a letter, and I guess I will do that to the Atlanta Center for Self-Sufficiency to let them know I am thinking about them from the conversation that we had. I'm going to go ahead and close out our conversation to say thanks for joining Street Meet, The Point, listening audience, and hope to have your support. We accept donations, crowdfunding support, and your participation. And yes, we don't mind doing a fundraiser, but it just depends on what we're fundraising. And of course, Me asking for donations for a street meat company is one thing. Asking for donation and fundraising is two different things. Believe it or not, it is. You can provide donations for me to um, make sure that I stay on the radio. That's a good thing. We can raise money in terms of Naguzo Saba. There's things I need to purchase in there, like the jumpers, maybe the Kanaras and things like that. Um, yes, in terms of Kite Society, there need to be resources applied to that. Now, in terms of me being an individual doing certain fundraising, it's possible. Okay? So can you fundraise? That's why I'm looking for people who know how to do Naguzo Saba art. Well, it's just the truth. I don't want to fib to anyone. Everyone is valuable, and your participation to help yourself, family, community, local, state, region, federal, and global community relies on the many people that contribute to it being an effective structure. Now, somewhere in there I put on here, homeless people should be volunteering. All them people just sitting around there, I don't know what they got going on with themselves. But there should be a task force to employ to get those homeless people who are receiving these services to work. The homeless people, you need to get to work and volunteer. I will be trying to attend certain other places to communicate with them in regards to Street Meat Company. You know, I am one of many. And the thing is the reason why Street Meat Company went and did nonprofit is because there is an engagement. And the engagement is to bring forth the acknowledgement of what we need to do to improve our community. The sad thing is to assume that through anybody's subliminal message, and yet you know you're just listening and you're not applying the work, then that would be the question. So listen, I had asked this question one time before, and the question was, if someone giving you money, what will you do with it? If you have employment, what would you do with it? What would you do? The other thing was, if you had to make a choice, to getting money or employment with benefits, which one would you choose? Being engaged in community or organizational work requires participation. What do you mean? Well, being engaged in the community or doing grassroots or people who are out there, you rarely see them, but they are out there. What happened is that you have people such as myself. I'm not considered an activist, but it looks like it's activist work. The reason why I look like an activist work is because I'm actually out there and I'm communicating with people about the different committees that are a part of Street Meat Company. Where on this end of the stick, I'm actually looking for people to actually promote and do business. Where on the other end, of charity, they're actually attaining certain resources so that they can provide a service to people who may need those services. Okay, so I want you to understand what the difference is. So the thing is that Street Meat Company, communication, when I'm out there engaging in conversation with different people here and there, bless you, it is to create the open structure of the conversation to say, you know what, we need people to participate in these different things. You know why? Because everybody is doing something. But when we look at this area, Kite Society requires research, and it requires that whole thing in terms of building in the security aspect of this area and that area. So someone asked me, well, what about this? I said, well, here it is. I don't want to really consider us to be a religious group. Oh, somebody says secular. I'm like, I don't want to consider that to be secular either. How about this? There is a separation between church and state, and we'll just be in the middle. And our relationships will be here, or in the corner, or wherever it is, so that we miss all that stuff. Because the thing is that once you start putting on certain things a certain kind of way, and here that you're dealing with different people here, we don't want to be trying to shun people saying, well, no. So we have 3WD, True Amelioration. There's the Google Saba, Tulips, Blog Talk, and Kite Society. Now, there are resources and they're available, but we have to work. That means that people need to get involved and they need to participate. And they need to manifest those things into the income that it can be. See, the thing is though I mention it as a nonprofit organization, that means that it involves community participation. Now, I just went to a meeting earlier today, as I mentioned before, but I did not stay because, and it was talking about volunteerism. And the thing is about the volunteers, I need to be a 501c. So it made me wonder that if I went 501c and the volunteers, I don't have to necessarily have volunteers, but through this portal of people that's supposedly supposed to be volunteered on the you could go on volunteer.com or volunteer.org or whatever. I can go on there right now on the Street Meat Company and look and see if I can find some people. I mean, it's just like that. But I haven't done that. Matter of fact, I probably should consider it. Because the thing is that there are people who are out there and they're not doing much of anything and they want to be involved in various things. But Street Meat Company is about promoting employment, job creation, and the creativity of that innovation. And then when you look at Naguzo Saba, even though we have Naguzo Saba, it's still an active, because that means you have to be active in the community, and then that means you also have to engage in some of these other cultural programs that may be here and there in the community. Whether you're going to the Latin American Association, whether you're going to the Ethiopian Association, whether you're going to the Jewish Community Center. I mean, it's just really an involvement here and there with other entities. The reason why is because we are one of many. That's why. Tulips, even though I've had some people say, well, tulips is for, yes, it is for women only. But I ain't going to fib to you. Tulips' approach, or the way that I see tulips, is really to work with women who work with women. Women who work with women. Women who work with or for women. You know, it's like the question would be, do a judge need a judge? Do a counselor need a counselor? So that's kind of like how I see it. So what about the young girls who may be interested? That's Naguzo Saba. But tulips are for women who work with women. Women who who provide services for women. Women for women. 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 Women of women. Women with women. Women of women. And it's not a lesbian affiliation. Not to say that here it is, if you're a lesbian, you can join, sure. I'm not disputing that you hear this, the sex aspect of it. But tulips is tulips, okay? Then we have the assistance on Blog Talk Radio. I need other people to participate in Blog Talk Radio. The reason why is to engage conversation, whether they want to communicate that to other people, whether we need to enhance the services and our conversations on Blog Talk, whether we need to try to get other people involved, whether we try to get premium stations, whether I reroute my premium station, whether I reroute the schedule at another time so that we can try to get more people involved in the conversation. Blog Talk, the same thing. And then we have Kite Society. Kite Society, yes, we need to be able to build Kite Society a certain kind of way. Okay, and that right there, I think that would be the most challenging opposed to true amelioration. Not opposed, but alongside true amelioration. Kite Society and true amelioration. The Nguzo Saba, there's already a format and information provided for that. Where where Kite Society and True Amelioration, there's really some research that is engaged with those things. Business research. So anyway, wow. Oh. All right, so I went over those things again. Again, I do encourage us to, as I walk up and down the street, Nguzo Saba. Nguzo Saba is Umoja, in unity. Kujakujalia, self-determination, blessings. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kuumba, I think that's what it's now. Creativity. Imani, faith. Okay? And all that is Nguzo Saba. And of course, if you want to find more information about Nguzo Saba, I encourage you to research the information and call me and let me know about it. Okay? Tell me about Nguzo Saba. I'm always willing to learn, especially positive information. I'm going to reread this again. Thanks for joining Street Meet The Point listening audience and hope to have your support. We do accept donations, crowdfunding support, and your participation. Everyone is valuable, and your participation is help yourself, family, community, local, state, region, federal, and global community relies on the many people that contribute to it being an effective structure. Okay, thanks again. Please visit www.streetmeet.biz and our Connect partner, www.meetup.com/street-meet. Thank you. Have a good night. Wow.